This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Good morning, true seekers and true crime junkies. Welcome back to another episode of Hit the Road, Jack, Finding the Zodiac. And happy Valentine's Eve. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend this weekend. I'd like to invite to the show Nolan Del Campo.
Good morning, everybody. And Monday's a holiday, too.
What?
Yeah, President's
Day. Okay, I'm glad I know that now. That I won't expect my phone to ring and sit around waiting for business. Maybe we can meet on Monday. It's a holiday.
Okay, that sounds good.
And then I'd like to welcome to the show as well, Lindsay McBrayer.
Hello.
Good morning, Bubbles.
Yes. I'm still trying to figure out how I could fit the whole piece in there. Yeah.
Reducing the size of the image. I don't know. I'm not very good at all that.
Well, I'm just still getting used to this Streamcast. So.
What is it? What are you using?
Well, I use OBS, but I think you do yours through StreamYard. I'm still getting familiarized with StreamYard. I actually was on a show with someone else last Sunday and kind of played with it a little bit. So I'm just going to get used to it.
Gotcha.
A lot of
people. You have a show, right?
Yep. We're starting ours back next week. Hopefully we can get Megan on, and I'm going to try to pull her leg to get up on here one of these days.
Now, and what is the name of your show?
Real Truth, Real Justice.
Real Truth, Real Justice.
Mm-hmm.
And where's it air on?
It's at Real Truth, Real Justice, and I'm going to stream it on X and on YouTube at the same time. So if you want to watch it on X, you can, or if you want to watch it on YouTube, you can as well.
Beautiful. Good. I'm glad that all of the watchers out there get to hear that so that they know where to find you. And of course, you primarily cover a lot about the John Walsh stuff, right?
Yeah, and how he connects to all these different cases. And, we cover the Zodiac and, even Epstein, really. I mean, I've been digging in those files lately and, girl, I'm not... It's like a rabbit hole after a rabbit hole because you have the redactions, so many redactions. So it's like a puzzle, literally.
Right.
And they're not in order. So, I mean, they're like all
of course not.
So, you kind of have to pull each one individually and then put them in order and, kind of put these puzzle pieces together to create the story of what, and see what's going on. And which I've done it, and it's a lot of stuff going on with, I believe, Erica Kirk and her mother. So
wow. Well, and I say this because there's one of two things going on here. Either they're putting this information out in the manner in which they are in order to cause and create such a great amount of work to have to be done to be able to understand the documents. Or if this is clearly how the police department or the law enforcement or FBI runs their files, then no wonder they can't figure anything out.
Yeah.
if you got to swap back and forth from one date to the next, or literally pull the whole file, print it out, date order it so that you can read it in the right order. I think that's absurd. Why would you not provide it to us in the order it came in the file?
And I will say that a lot of creators that have the capability to and to AI in these more expensive softwares, they've actually been loading all the files from the DOJ into this software, and the software organizes it for you. So
Wow.
a
Okay.
couple people that I've been working with also have been doing that, and so that's like amazing. So that way, once they get it all set up, then you can go to this website and look for the files yourself and see them in order. If you
And
know,
I just had a girlfriend ask me, somebody I'd met on my trip to Ireland, which we've maintained friendship since then, just asked me the other day whether or not I have been through the JFK files. Has any of you guys looked at the JFK files?
I have briefly,
Yeah.
and I've also looked through the MLK ones and found some explosives, but
So maybe something I should visit. I'm
it
just
is
wondering.
something that you should visit 100%. Yeah.
All right. But
I know. Maybe it's more. It is. I would say it's more organized than the Epstein files for sure.
Okay. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Nolan.
If you want to talk JFK or MLK, I'm game anytime, or RFK.
Right.
Yep.
No, 100%. I know where I'm going. That's why you're here. Well, let's talk today about some current politics. I was just looking now. Okay, so another thing that was brought to my attention was the Clintons and Guthrie. The
Oh
kidnapping,
God.
the journalist's mother. Have you heard about that, Nolan?
Yes, I have, and it seems like that somebody should be able to identify that guy. And why
Right?
did they take so long to release that footage? They had it
Exactly.
from the get-go.
We know. So this is why I think it was brought to my attention, whether and by the same person who asked if I had seen the JFK files or had if I was working on those, had mentioned that Guthrie's husband, the investigative reporter's husband, was part of the administration for the Clintons.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and of
I
course,
think it may be politically motivated in some way.
I think it is.
well, and her question was, I want to see if I can. Let me see if I can quote that correctly because we don't talk a lot, so I don't have to go very far back to figure out what it was that she was trying to say. Listening to, let's see. Find anything new in the JFK papers, and the deep dive. Here it is. She said, I was looking through Facebook this morning and thought I would talk to you about something I think is strange. The Clintons are in the hot seat over Epstein and Benghazi, and what happens, the Guthrie kidnapping, splashed all over the news. Clinton reports barely reported on it, and Savannah's husband worked for the Clinton administration. Strange, right?
Okay.
I don't see that as strange. I mean, obviously, that's the distraction method, right? Let's create something so freaking
Yep.
outlandish that everybody pays attention over here while we figure out how to get ourselves or weasel our way out of whatever it is that's going on. And
Yep.
I don't really think there's any way. I mean, Clinton looking hungover in a picture with Epstein pretty much describes it all.
And the picture of him wearing a dress and hanging up in Epstein's house.
What?
Yeah, there's a picture of Clinton, a painting of Clinton in a dress, dressed in a dress, sitting in a chair, and it's a portrait on his wall.
That
There's
is
a
way.
picture.
Oh
Yeah,
my
there's a picture
gosh.
of it in the files. Yeah.
That is way more than casual business relationship.
Yeah. I'll send it to you after the show so you can see it and get a good laugh because it
Yeah,
is.
you should, because I'd love
It's
to.
pretty hilarious.
I did not have sex with those children.
I wonder if it was the dress that Monica Lewinsky had.
I don't know if he was supposed to be posing as Mona Lisa or what, but
that screams a way better night than even Nolan and I have had.
exactly. Yeah.
And I don't mean
I mean, it
sexually.
kind of
I
tells
mean
you all
just
you need to
fun. We've had some fun, but it's not caused any of us to dress inappropriately and stand for a painting.
Yeah.
That must mean that there's a legitimate.
Since
I
the
can't
80s.
even see Clinton standing for a painting. That must have been a picture that was taken and somebody painted a portrait of it, and they probably thought
Yeah.
it was a good
Shows
joke.
his face.
I think the actual picture of that was taken of him, the live picture is in there too. Yep.
Oh Jesus!
But I thought it was
Okay.
hilarious that he had a portrait done of it and put it on his wall.
Right.
in a picture.
Oh
It
my
was on
God.
Epstein's wall?
Yeah.
Wow. For
That was the best
blackmail
laugh.
purposes. He
Yeah,
kept
yeah.
Yeah.
for
Like
blackmail.
every time he visited in his house, he saw it on the wall. And like, oh yeah, I'm reminded of that, you know?
That was a good chuckle. That was a good night. Oh man. All right. So for some more local news, which was actually kind of tied into some of the things that we've been talking about, was by a local journalist or reporter named Katie Grimes. Her bio is Katie Grimes, the editor-in-chief of the California Globe, is a longtime investigative journalist covering the California state capitol, the co-author of California's War Against Donald Trump, Who Wins, Who Loses, and a contributor to Taxafornia 2016. A California native and Navy mom, Katie lives in Sacramento, California. Are either of you familiar with the California Globe?
No, I'm not. I should be.
Right?
I have several friends that were Capitol correspondents for years. And so I'm pretty familiar with most of the people that cover the Capitol.
Well, evidently, she's liking to out some of these things, which I found a commonality between, and I will discuss those when we get there. But some of the comment or some of the things that were said at the end of the actual article itself says Gavin Newsom is furious. We asked okay, so let me give you the headline first. Vice President J.D. Vance to lead anti-fraud task force in Newsom's California. California has been a focal point in recent fraud investigations. And at the end of the article, it goes on to say Gavin Newsom is furious. We asked, how did this happen? How did public employees and elected politicians allow this to happen? How many are involved? So much fraud. Things are heating up. We'll keep you notified. This is going to be good. So I can't wait to see some of the outcomes in regards to this, because I already have my own feelers about Newsom and his hypocrisy of running this state and the homelessness and the fraud that's going on. And why hasn't he enacted all of it, and yeah. This article really kind of hits home for that. It says the White House has announced it's finalizing plans for a new anti-fraud task force targeting welfare abuse in California and other states, and assigned Vice President J.D. Vance, Andrew Ferguson of the Federal Trade Commission, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, as the National Pulse reported Wednesday. California has been a focal point in recent fraud investigations. State auditors previously identified billions of dollars in fraudulent unemployment insurance claims and improper pandemic relief payments. Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat, has defended his state, claiming his administration has made efforts to recover funds and strengthen oversight. Last week, California's U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli, is that how I say, is that correct? Nolan, do you know? California's U.S. Attorney? I've lost him. Announced the arrest of Alexander Sufer of Los Angeles, who was charged with wire fraud, and that officials seized his $125,000 Range Rover and LA mansion after he was arrested for allegedly stealing millions in taxpayer funds meant to house and feed the homeless in Los Angeles. Sufer was contracted with the city and county of Los Angeles to house. No, I guess got to get my clicker up and running. There we go. Housed to feed up to 600 homeless. What's that? No, you're not. Oh, no, you're not. Are you there?
I can see people.
I can see you, but I'm not hearing you very well. We'll come back to you. It says feed up to 600 homeless people, but instead spent millions on a luxurious life, the Globe reported. Sufer stole approximately $23 million. Shortly after this revelation, Dr. Mehmet Oz, administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, said California is one of the epicenters for fraud, waste, and abuse in the entire country, and they are probing massive suspected hospice and home health fraud in Los Angeles. If even a fraction of this is true, elected officials and public employees knew of it and allowed taxpayers to be robbed blind. Home health services are government approved. In March, Globe contributor Richie Greenberg and I addressed the left's nonprofit Shadow Campaign Fund and explained when corporations cozy up to politicians through charity, they're not competing on merit, they're buying influence. We have been ringing the alarm bells for many years about dubious nonprofits tied to politicians and their families, friends, and associates, nonprofits that are untraceable black holes for taxpayer government funding, and it's been going back a long time. back when Jerry Brown was California Attorney General. But we'll talk about him. I was reporting on nonprofit fraud and sending the information to the Attorney General's office, but all I got back was crickets. Kind of sounds like me on this case. More details came available last week about massive healthcare fraud occurring in California. Trump's CMS administrator, Dr. Oz, is exposing jaw-dropping fraud in Gavin Newsom's California with U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley. Are you back with me, Nolan?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Am I saying his name right?
I don't know.
The attorney? Okay. We have witnessed a sevenfold increase in hospice in LA County, sevenfold. That doesn't happen naturally. 3.5 billion just here in Los Angeles County. We think around hospice and home health care. Then you add in all the other things like they have in Minnesota, but in a California scale, it's huge. They are not 7 times more deaths in LA County than there were 5 years ago. These fraudsters, and these do tend to be foreign influences. These are Russian, Armenian gangs, mafia that are leading a lot of these efforts. A lot of it's driven by foreigners who came to Los Angeles, very different culture, Russian Armenian groups, and this mafia seems to have taken over the system. They corrupt the doctors, they normalize fraud so that everyone sort of expects it, but the magnitude of it is so great that we have to take it on aggressively. It's a focus area for CMS, and this administration under President Trump is not going to tolerate taxpayer dollars being stolen because people aren't paying attention anymore. We're focused on this. And then that ends with Gavin Newsom is furious. I bet he is. But I'm going to tell you why this means so much to me. So basically, when I was a member of the American Society of Industrial Security, which basically carries on continuing education for the likes of Homeland Security, for the governor's detail, for private investigators and security personnel, for all different. I mean, I even met people who was private security for celebrities. I met so many different people from so many different fields, but they would also have to do continuing education, just like myself, just like Nolan, just like a paralegal or anybody else who is required to keep up to date on education. And in this one of the particular meetings I was at, the FBI had come, 2 of them actually stood there and spoke before us and said that they were tracking a ring of human trafficking that was being mainly committed by the Russian community. And the hub for that was in Sacramento area. And the largest amount of fraud and crime that they were seeing was from the Russian community. So there was number 1. Number 2 was my aunt, who worked for Medi-Cal fraud, and she had stated to me that the largest amount of fraud that she was seeing was coming from Russian immigrants, whereby many family members would be given whatever it was to get a house and to get benefits and supposedly to get on their feet and become active participants in American society. But what they would actually do is be collecting 15, 20 benefits deep in food stamps. So these people are eating like kings while we have homeless people and veterans on the street that can barely make a meal. And then they would all funnel their money together, albeit as under the table as it could be, not paying taxes on anything. They would pay off one house, and then once they have that house paid off, then they would move families into another house, pay that house off. So they're quickly becoming owners of real estate, much higher and greater than any American citizen can afford, and she was disgusted by it. So that was number 2. Now we have this investigative reporter coming out and stating that they are proving. So if we can prove that this is who's doing it, why aren't we getting rid of them? Why are we not hammering down? Why are we not kicking them out of the country? Why aren't that's committing a crime, right? After coming to this country, you should then be deported back to wherever you came from. And if they're capable, the FBI has proved it. My aunt in Medi-Cal fraud has shown it. And now we've got an investigative reporter on the Hill saying, we know where this is coming from. Why aren't we doing anything about it? I'm just disgusted.
Why are there facilities like farm workers and people like that are actually contributing to society and not these crooks?
Exactly. 100%. And a lot of the times, I don't want to believe that they're just so big and so strong that we can't overcome it or we can't do anything about it. So it has to be more of a political pat you on your back kind of thing, right? If Newsom's letting these individuals get away with this stuff, where's his backbone?
Local law enforcement would have a rule too, because I mean, there's very little state police. In fact, I don't even know if we have state police anymore. The CHP is taking over the role of the state police.
Well, then clearly
he's obviously getting something from that. He's benefiting in some way in order to let it keep going on.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no other answer.
Contributions. Who knows? But I mean, he could lead the fight. The Attorney General could come out against it, but there has to be local enforcement. So,
well, we've got the FBI stating it, and actually, the FBI told me
they have the authority to investigate it themselves.
The FBI indicated the only cases they wanted us to bring to them that were over $1 million. So if you're only looking for, fraud over $1 million, then how? I mean, 4 different cases of 250,000 amounts to $1 million. Do you know how easily that can get away with the amount of money that can be absconded with? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Either way,
that's how they do it. They do it in little increments here and there, and like in different varieties.
Right. So then on LinkedIn, I see by Kyle Reyes, he's posted something that says, "Holy cow, the San Joaquin County Sheriff Captain alleges that Pakistanis who have never even been in the U.S. are voting in California elections from Pakistan. According to the captain, voting records indicate individuals outside the country, specifically in Pakistan, can participate in the California elections." I'm sorry, you guys, my picture of this is really bad and the lines through it has interrupted the words. It says, if this is true, taking it on, I guess, national security threat, no wonder why California wants to hide voter info from the feds, basically. So what they've stated is that California has created a online system where you can go on, sign up, whether you have identification, citizenship papers or not. And once you sign up for your party and you say that you want to be entered as registered to vote, then you're automatically sent an email. And from that point on, then you start getting all the things that I would get in the mail as a United States citizen that has the voting propaganda and the ballots and everything else. So California, under Gavin Newsom's control, has created a system that has allowed anybody from outside the country to participate in our elections.
Wow. So where else is it happening at too?
Exactly. So that's why my little picture over here to the side, eagle eye. Newsom's out there, just trying to stomp on Trump or whatever it is that he's doing. But I like this one where the bird's looking at himself in the mirror and saying, "You mother."
Yeah.
Sorry, that was tickle phase. So back to last week's stuff, just some catch up on it. I did figure out Don Cheney was actually Arthur Lee Allen's friend. So when we were asking about Cheney, thinking it might have been a politician, this was actually somebody who narked Allah off and claimed that he thought he was the Zodiac. But I myself personally, if Don Cheney had been the Zodiac, he would never have gone to the police to narc somebody off. He might have laid some clues. He might have done some things, but he would not have gone to the police department. I think that's the last thing the Zodiac would have ever done. In 48 hours, I don't know if anybody's watching the new 48 Hours that has just come out. It's a 2025 series. It's about 32 episodes. Of course, right off the bat, you could see, what their agenda was by who they were deciding to promote in these particular 48-hour cases. And one of them I skipped across actually happened to be Jonbenet Ramsey. And I think some of that stuff, since we haven't left Jonbenet Ramsey yet, and we're going to climb into 1997 in January with Jack here next, I thought it was important to show you guys what it is that they're trying to spin on this case now in 2025. So basically,
I haven't seen that.
Oh, girl, it'll just make you mad.
You said 2025? Maybe I have them.
Well, it's 32 episodes, and it's not just on Jonbenet Ramsey. Jonbenet Ramsey just happens to be one of their episodes, and I'm not really quite sure why they're even portraying this, except for now I feel like this is who John Ramsey is owed to and continues to participate with, knowing what it is that they can do to him. Because why hop on a 48 hours segment, when 48 hours has meant that if you can't catch them in 48 hours, you're probably not going to, right? So they're supposed to show you what they do within the first 48 hours. And then ultimately any other leads that come in, they will kind of try to air and then show you what the results were if they were capable of catching the person. But I've never seen an unsolved
That's what
murder.
it was originally for.
Yeah. And now that it's nothing of the likes. So one thing that hit me hard was they claimed that the Ramseys were never publicly called suspects.
That's
Yeah,
a
they
lie.
were suspects.
Now,
Good
they
God,
don't
I've seen so much Jonbenet stuff to like immediately say, no, that's incorrect.
Yes. But at the end of the episode, they double back and say they remain prime suspects.
It's gaslighting.
I'm so confused. Now, I rewatched it just to make sure, because I thought maybe what it had said is that the police never publicly called them suspects, but we know that's untrue as well. But they didn't. They just blanketly said never publicly called suspects, and I about fell out of my chair. I'm like, are you kidding me? This man didn't lose everything that he had, including his daughter and his wife, in the middle of this process, to have never been a suspect. The episode claims
the whole family was suspects. The brother, the mom, the dad.
Yeah, and the episode at the end goes and says it all over again, remains prime suspects. They claim that these leaks were fed to tabloids, so they're trying to like bifurcate what a tabloid would do versus what they want to call real news, when we know that's just yellow journalism as well. But it says claims that leaks were fed to tabloids, mostly trying to blame the tabloids for the weaponized press. No, we can see many articles where they were vilified, so that's just simply not true. It says in
the only person that was I've read a book, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, about it was written by one of the police officers that was originally on the case. He wrote, and he said in his book that the tabloids are the ones that actually outed the police for what they were doing. They were the ones going after the Ramseys, and
that's what I'm saying. And if
they were on a trail that they didn't want them on, and that's when the tabloids they went into his personal life and exploited him by putting pictures and everything of his family in there, and like giving these like secret death, like almost like a death threat of like, you better not go there because
right. So, but let's focus on what the news is trying to do, because honestly speaking, if the tabloids were out there the ones leaking what was leaked to them as false leads or false words, then these tabloids need to be shut down. If they are simply just mimicking bad information that isn't true, sensationalizing something to hurt another person, then I think that's grounds for that to be shut down, right? I mean, Nolan, the limit to freedom of speech is that what you're speaking is true, right?
Well, they do it and make money off it, and so,
But they shouldn't be allowed to. We should be looking at who the heads of these tabloids are. Wasn't Murdoch head of Star?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was asking Lindsay.
Yeah, he was.
So Star is a tabloid, and Star is ran by
he's in the Epstein files, by the way.
Yes, he is. I would not put anything past it. I saw a post on Facebook where Bert and Ernie was thrown up as a picture by one of my favorite drummers in the Young Dubliners, and it said they're not on the Ramseys list. I giggled and slapped back and said, "How about their creators?"
Yeah.
It may not be Bert and Ernie on that list, but I bet you who created them might be. Anyways, there should be a way to shut these tabloids down if they're in fact just producing nonsense, aliens, and you just can't go around saying some things without some proof or truth behind it. And heaven forbid that Hillary Clinton make mention that any American citizen who is not speaking the truth on social media should go to jail. What about these people? Why don't we start at the top and work our way down and somewhere meet in the middle so everybody's getting the right information? It said that also John went from $1 billion company, which I've said this many times, to no work in 4 years and has to sell their Atlanta mansion due to financial hardship from the case. There's another connection back to Atlanta. I did not know that the Ramseys owned home in Atlanta. So
you did it?
No, No, I mean, but I know Atlanta
She's
ties
buried
into
there.
all this.
She's
Well,
buried
yes,
there.
and I'm sure I read it, but it never really made like any connection for me until this particular case in which, the fact that he went from $1 billion company to no work in 4 years, this is what I talk about. They can make and break you. So he was
I don't
made.
know if I believe that totally in total.
Well, he had to sell pretty much everything. He had to downsize,
Yeah.
sell everything, was losing money, left and right. And as far as no work in 4 years, if there was some truth about the software that he sold to Lockheed being outdated and they figured this out, then that may have been the hit to him, that he sold a
Yep.
program for $1 billion that had no value because it was now outdated software. And then, of course, General Electric being the ones who come in and sweep up his company for pennies on the dollar, that it screams make and break. And of course, now I feel like they're giving back to him a little bit at a time. I don't know if he's being paid for these particular documentaries or these episodes that he's doing. But the bottom line is that every single time, ever since 2021, I want to say, every documentary that I have looked at on the Jonbenet Ramsey case is intimated to the fact that they should be able to run the DNA through Ancestry and 23andMe and come up with something.
Exactly.
And they have still not done that.
Well, let me tell
Why?
you a secret. They do get paid, and I know that for a fact because I was just on one. We taped it last October or maybe before that. But it'll come out in end of March or so on Hulu and Peacock. But I was about a murder that happened in my hometown, and so and since I was close with the individual that was murdered, they wanted to interview me, and they did pay me. It wasn't a lot or nothing, but just imagine what it would be for Jonbenet Ramsey's father,
Now you're nailing it. Yeah, I want to say I have a check over here that's taped to my wall for me doing Life After Lockup, which I'll never do again. That is such a scummy freaking program. The way these people are treated like celebrities after they've, done wrong to others. I made $250.
Yeah, it was like well, I had to go twice, and I actually provided some pictures and stuff that they wanted to pay me for the pictures. So, but it was under $300.
Right. Go ahead, Nolan.
Oh, way back when I worked at Channel 3 when I was in college, Real People contacted KCRA, that's where I worked, because they were the NBC affiliate, and the TV show Real People, and they needed help with the Anna Conrad story. The woman got frozen in Tahoe and had to have her feet amputated. Anyway, so they did an episode on Anna Conrad, and I helped them with that, and they sent me a little check. Real People.
Check. Yeah, it's always going to be a little people check.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So some of the other information that it talked about was Lou Smith. The Lou Smith police interview tapes were given to 48 hours. It says by Jonbenet Ramsey, but how would John Ramsey be in possession of police interview tapes, Nolan?
Because he was very close with the family.
Okay. Yeah, I would
No. Lou Smith was the interviewer. You got to stay on track here with me. Lou Smith was the police interviewer.
Oh, yeah.
He was the detective.
Right.
And the interview of Lou Smith, these tapes were given, it says on 48 hours. So they're showing, we've got hours of this footage. You should see this. You should see that. Some of it made light. Some of it made fun. Some of it kind of damaged the Ramseys in my mind, the way they showed or portrayed it on this documentary. But it says that these tapes, the police interview tapes of Lou Smith interviewing the Ramseys, was given to John Ramsey. Is that something you would do in an open case?
No, you'd retain it. It's evidence.
Exactly. So again, we've got evidence slipping to the outside, just like Tom Voigt with all the evidence that he's been given. How is it that these individuals, other than to continue to perpetrate the misconception of what's really going on in these cases, are these type of things happening? To me, I thought that was odd, so I put it in here as a side note.
It's probably because they paid him for it. He probably paid him for it.
Who did, John?
He should not release.
No, I mean, the 48 hours probably paid him
suspects.
Well, 48 hours shouldn't be able to pay for crap. It's police evidence. It's evidence in an unsolved crime, like Nolan just said. It shouldn't be given to anybody, and nobody should be able to buy it, and it shouldn't become the highlight of tonight's entertainment.
Yep.
What's that, Nolan?
That's odd.
It's very odd. So that was another thing I pointed out. Now, also, I was under the impression, and I think it was Terry Batcher who stated that he read the autopsy report that indicated that the blow to the head for Jonbenet occurred after her death because there was no pooling of blood, where would have shown that her heart was still pumping in order to produce the blood in that area from that damage. So I took that to mean that he read the autopsy correctly, and I reported on that in our episodes about Jonbenet Ramsey. But in this particular documentary, it says that the head injury occurred before she died.
I think they've always retained that was the fact, that was the fact.
So then I'm wondering where Terry got it and what information had been fed, to other sources. See, again, just to confuse people. So he gets an autopsy report that states that they believe that the head injury occurred after she had been strangled because of the lack of pooling of blood. And I tended to believe that because, yes, that's something that if your heart stops pumping, the blood doesn't keep flowing to the damaged area. So there was another case. I want to correct that if that's true. If that's not true and we're just being fed BS, then just know that there are two versions out there. And of course, that's just keeping us all up in the confusion world. It did point out that there were fibers found on the duct tape that was on Jonbenet Ramsey that did not come from the Ramsey home. So that indicates the tape was brought by a perpetrator. And if that can simply be said, that the fibers on that tape, when that little girl never left that house, there was no roll of duct tape found in the house. And there are fibers that are attached to that did not come from anything at the Ramsey house. That explicitly states intruder.
Well, they also have it. There's a lot of stuff in this police investigator's book that he notes, and one of the things that stood out to me about the duct tape was that when he was investigating that duct tape, and he said that Patsy Ramsey bought some duct tape, just duct tape that was bought at
and that's just somebody making some statement that was said. This particular docuseries is stating that this duct tape did not come from their home. There were fibers found on it that does not match any fibers in the home, so that would indicate that it was brought in. The other part was the stun gun issue. Mm-hmm. So most doctors claim that they were in fact stun gun marks. So a majority of who they had indicated had done autopsies or consulted on the autopsy report or stuff like that stated that they believed that they were in fact stun gun marks. But Jonbenet Ramsey was buried so quickly that when these theories came about, nobody had the ability to actually measure them on her body to verify or validate that. Except one examiner, Dr. Spitz, which of course, I won't even say the words, it just sounds bad. Anyways, he was also the examiner in JFK's case. He's the one that states they were not stun gun marks. He's the only opposition to all the other examiners. So if you got JFK so horribly wrong, why are we going to believe you in JBR? Right?
How is he still alive? Yeah, that's like 30 years.
Well, this was 1996. She was killed.
Yeah, that's 30.
So
35 years.
Yeah, but he would have still been probably one of the highest paid examiners out there for the rich, right? You go back and take a look at him, and then you'll know why.
He had to be pretty old by then.
Well, if he was in his 40s even, he would have been in his 70s, but he would have still been a great consultant. Most of these people who work for the government become consultants afterwards and make big money. The thing that just stuck out in my mind is he's the only opposition to that those are stun gun marks, and he worked on the JFK case. And I went, boom, there you go.
And then why would they bring him in anyway? I don't know. You have all these.
I think he was the original examiner in the case. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back to see how he got himself involved, but I'm sure at the height of the DA trying to make their claim against the Ramseys was bringing in all the big dogs in order to see if they couldn't make a case that sticked against the Ramseys. Yeah. The other part about this is that the only way to verify the stun gun marks is to exhume Jonbenet Ramsey's body to measure the precise distance between the marks. But John Ramsey declines to exhume his daughter, even though this would prove the intruder theory. I was at a complete loss. You were being given an opportunity And I get it. Nobody wants to exhume their child. Nobody wants to exhume their loved one, period. But in a lot of cases, people are exhumed just to figure out the
I
truth.
don't think
Because
I've seen that.
the person that really wants to know the truth is going to, they're not going to stop at anything. They're going to do everything that it takes, whether you can't disturb the peace. Yeah, you can't disturb the peace of a dead person. They're dead. They're not with us anymore. Like if you were asking to, I don't know. I can't even imagine in what world I wouldn't want to know that truth, especially if it exculped me from the activities that happened that night or that day, because neither of them owned a stun gun, and one was not found in the house. But again, John Ramsey declines to exhume her. And most families, I think, would gladly do this, just as you just said, Lindsay.
And was it Patsy that found the body?
Well, let me tell you something. No. There actually was something found.
Who found the body?
It was John Ramsey and his friend. They were both searching the basement after being told to look again throughout the house by a police officer who had been there for quite some time.
Whites. The last name
the White. Bill White. Bill White, I think. So, it was the Whites. So, so it was him and a friend that went down, found her.
On the basis of the ransom note, they hadn't even searched the full house before calling the cops?
No, because they assumed she was gone. So they probably looked in the general living areas. They looked in her room. They looked, in the playroom. They looked in the
that just doesn't make sense. The first thing I would do is, where's my little girl? And I'd try.
Well, yeah, but you're going to go to where you expect her to be. And if she doesn't have a history of hiding out in the basement, you probably aren't going to go there, right? I mean, you get a ransom note that says I've taken her. Your brain is on the fritz. Yeah, I'm sorry, but if I picked up,
I was looking at the yard, the basement, attic, wherever.
Well, I'm sorry, but I pick up a ransom note and I'm calling the police immediately. I'm sorry, that shouldn't be in my house. Yeah. That's red flag number 1. And now do I believe the contents of that letter? I mean, they honestly thought their child had been kidnapped and now is being ransomed. So they wouldn't have any reason to believe she's in the house, especially if they can't find her in her room, if they can't find her in the playroom, they can't find her in the living room, they can't find her in the kitchen. I don't know that I would have gone so far as the basement. Some people have more of a, I think as a female, like I said, my brain would just go on the fritz. I don't know that I could have logically thought about anything, even though my normal calm self would say, did you check here? Did you check there? Have you checked here? Have you checked there? That I'm not in that position.
I would also be looking for like clues or any evidence too that they may have been left at the scene, and
right.
then I would have discovered there she is dead,
Well, another documentary I kind of picked up on was The American Pickers, which I had always really liked The American Pickers, and then I started seeing stories like this on here where the family made their money from bootlegging, and it would take the liquor out to the water on Hempstead Harbor and sell to the well-to-do Gold Coast family, similar to the Woolworths. Family definitely screamed mob, and it is sensationalized as if something to be proud of. Like, here are these new generations of these families saying that, oh, my family made money bootlegging and doing illegal things. That right there should cause them to come in and take all of your family's money.
Well, the Kennedy family made a lot of their money through smuggling whiskey in the Northeast through Canada.
Exactly. And their money should be taken. They should not be in politics. They came up the wrong way to begin with and learned that it was okay to do things dirty, and they continue to do things dirty.
Yeah,
we want new blood.
Joe Sr., he had ties to the mob too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That was pretty much my own point for bringing this up.
That's why Marcello and Giancana and Trafficante and all those guys, Costello, they all felt betrayed when RFK, as Attorney General, started going after the mob.
Because that's the way they made their money.
Helping JFK win the election as a favor to the dad, that they would be protected. But
they're screaming, hypocrite, hypocrite. No, you're dirty, dude.
Yeah.
First they said, well, we got to kill Bobby. We just got to get rid of him. And then they said, wait a minute. No, let's do it even better. If we kill John, Bobby will go away. And that's what happened.
But he didn't. He didn't go away.
No, he waited a few years, and he never, he resigned as Attorney General soon thereafter, and he became an afterthought for a couple of years until the 68 election.
Yeah,
until the 68 election.
So some of the information on this particular family, it was great uncle Harry Browse from Seacliff, New York, 1912, where he made his family's wealth. When I researched that, I literally came up with these are the these are the Google searches. So past exhibits, Holocaust Memorial and Taunton Center of, I'm not sure what that's going to say, Nassau maybe, but it includes Harry Browse. New museum setup opening, highlight Jewish history on Long Island, again, featuring Harry Browse. So this is the media now praising these individuals. Yeah. And on exhibit islands, Jewish history. Harry Browse, a liquor store owner in Glen Cove, became a bootlegger during Prohibition after his store closed. Like, they're priding these people after the fact, and I'm just disgusted by it. Airing them on TV afterwards because you're picking out some great finds. I just can't even go there. The great-grandmother's house was actually a tailor and dry cleaners. That screams mob. Brown family came to this country and prospered as mob. F.W. Woolworth, because Woolworths were mentioned in this particular segment, was linked to the paper used in the communications of the Zodiac Killer. The no address letter actually came from New York, from a Woolworths in New York. And of course, I have cross-connecting with that Mary Pinchot Meyer, the MK Ultra in New York.
Okay, how does Mary Pinchot Meyer fit in?
Because if this group was part of killing her in New York, I think she was 62, right?
He was killed in D.C.
Still close.
Yeah. And she was one of JFK's girlfriends.
Right.
And her husband was Cord Meyer, a high-ranking CIA official.
CIA.
And
Correct.
Cord, he thinks the CIA killed Mary Meyer.
I'm pretty sure it all wraps itself right back around the same exact people. But my point is that if in 62 you're over here committing this murder, it's easy to hop over to New York and pick up this Woolworth paper that then becomes a huge piece in a Zodiac crime in 1969. We got to agree that the paper was achieved before the letter was written, right? Yep. So who knows when and how, but it happens to be from New York.
Real quick on Mary Meyer. Her sister was married to Ben Bradley, the editor of the not Wall Street Journal, but Washington Post during the Watergate era. He's played by Jason Robards in the movie.
Oh my God.
Ben Bradley, that was her sister's married to him. After she died,
that makes it all make sense.
Ben Bradley and her sister went over to her house to get her personal belongings, and they ran into James Angleton, the master CIA lockpicker and a high-ranking CIA official, breaking into her house. And so there's a theory that Angleton did get in before they got in, and he took her notebooks and a lot of personal effects that could have pointed out her knowledge about the JFK assassination.
Exactly. And that's what they want to do. It's cleanup. That's why I feel like Marilyn Monroe and Presley.
They killed Gallen.
Yep.
They killed Meyer and killed Gallen.
I was just about to bring Marilyn Monroe up.
They had information that was going to expose the CIA's and FBI's involvement in not just the murders, but the cover-up.
Well, and it specifically talks about Mary being part of the MK Ultra program, which I think would have put her in the League of Socialites, right? That's climbing into bed with high political figures in order to soak information from them. So they would be terribly concerned about what she knew if she wasn't. Did you say she was a mistress of JFK?
Yes.
So, yeah, she's a mistress, and not a mistress, she's a plant. So they're physically sending these women in to do these things and then turn around killing them for what they knew or possibly could tell somebody else. It's disgusting. Anyways, I thought I was going to make it to the last of this Cypher stuff, and I did not. So we'll pick up at the Cypher stuff next week. Hopefully I don't get any more great research about current history and things that keep taking us into the future. But I just thought these were some interesting points to show that the mob and all of this stuff is still very well alive and running amok.
And it's still going. And I believe that Erica was
in California as well. Right here in California.
Yep.
So any last minutes?
Nope.
Nope.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think that Erica was a plant for Charlie. She was sent to him.
I wouldn't doubt it. And I've been hearing a lot about that.
Charlie Kirk?
Yes.
Okay.
There
Yep.
seems to be some very interesting things, and if I wanted to fast forward to the future, we'd cover it, but I just haven't really tried to climb into any of that. We just know that these operations are continuing and ongoing. This is not something from the past. Mob is not an old age issue or I don't know, succubus on society.
There's more
It is
to it
current.
than UCI on the Charlie Kirk killing.
Way more.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, you have a wonderful Valentine's
yeah.
Day weekend, and I will see everybody next Friday. Take care and have a great week.
You too. I'll see you soon too.
Yes, Monday.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh,